Alhamdulillah wa salatu wa salam ala Rasulillah. Subhanaka la ilma lana illa ma 'allamtana innaka antal alimul hakim wa la fahma lana illa ma fahamtana innaka antal jawadul kareem. The subject today is 5 stories in Surah Baqarah where Allah Ta'ala brings the dead back to life. So the first story is the story of the cow, the Baqarah. What is this story? In the Banu Israel, in the time of Musa alayhi salam, someone was killed and they did not know who killed him. So the Jews came to Musa alayhi salam and told him, could you ask your Rabb who killed this cow? And Musa alayhi salam answers them, Inna Allah ya'murukum an tadbahu baqarah. That's where the story starts in Surah Baqarah. It tells them Allah asks you to slaughter a cow. قَالُوا أَتَتَّخِذُنَا هُزُوًا. They say, are you making fun of us? We are telling you, we are asking you who killed this man, and you are telling us to slaughter a cow. Well, this is nonsense. That's nothing to do with the question we are asking you. قَالَ أعوذ بالله من أن أكون من الجاهلين. He said, may Allah protect me to be in ignorance. I'm not a clown here to make fun of you, to do tricks on you, and then to have a big laugh about it, that I made you slaughter a cow, just I was feeling like having a barbecue. But that's nothing to do with your question. I'm not a clown here to do such things, and so that you call me, are you making fun of you? I'm a prophet. Allah sent me to show you what is good for you, to save you from hell. So you see with how lack of respect, with what kind of disrespect they were speaking to their prophet, as if you're speaking to your friend and your friend tells you go do that. No, I know you're joking, what are you talking about? So they said, okay, which cow? Which cow? قالوا ادع لنا ربك يبين لنا ما هي. Ask your Lord to tell us which cow it is. Subhanallah. Yani, when Allah tells you to slaughter a cow, does Allah Ta'ala not know what kind of cow He should tell you to do? Does Allah need that you tell Him, no, your question, your request is incomplete. What to slaughter a cow? You have to show us which cow. If Allah told you to slaughter a cow, there's nothing to add to it. You should just do what Allah has told you to do. It's not up to you to tell Him to tell you how to do it. He knows. Subhanallah. You see all this bad behavior and disrespect of their Prophet and towards Allah Ta'ala. So Musa alayhi salam answers them, إِنَّهُ يَقُولُ إِنَّهَا بَقَرَةٌ لا فارض ولا بكر. Allah tells you that it's a cow that's not old, too old, and that's not bikr, that means that a young cow that never had given birth. So a middle-aged cow, a cow that's given milk, that gives milk, that already has got given birth and is still giving more, middle-age, any normal age, any age from the time she had a child to the time she stops giving children. Very simple. It's a very simple condition. The first condition is a very simple condition because most cows will fulfill that condition. عوان بين ذلك. Anything between those two ages. فَافْعَلُوا مَا تُؤْمَرُونَ. And Musa alayhi salam insists, do what you're asked to do. Get on with it. Do it. Do it. You don't need to ask anything else. That's not necessary. Do it. Just do it. You have enough information to do it. You don't need anything else. قالوا ادع لنا ربك يبين لنا ما لونها. They say, ask your Lord to show us what color it is. So they're stubborn. They will not listen. They will not want to understand and to execute. What color? So Musa alayhi salam says, إنه يقول إنها بقرة صفراء فاقع لونها تسر الناظرين. Allah tells you it's a cow that's yellow, shining, beautiful. Huh. Now the second condition is more complicated. More complicated. So they looked, they searched, and they found many cows. They found a few cows that were yellow, shining, and also middle-aged. So they came back again to Musa alayhi salam. قالوا ادع لنا ربك يبين لنا ما هي. They told him, ask the Lord to show us which one it is. إن البقرة تشابه علينا وإنا إن شاء الله لمهتدون. There are many cows. We don't know which one Allah wants precisely. Inshallah, we shall be guided. And the ulama said that Allah saved them by saying Inshallah this time. They said, Inshallah, we'll manage, we'll do it, we'll get there. Inshallah, we're gonna do it. Now this third condition, Allah Ta'ala says, إن الله يأمركم قال يقول إنها بقرة لا ذلول تثير الأرض ولا تسقي الحرث مسلمة لا شية فيها. It is a cow that's not humiliated, that does not work the ground, and that does not take out the water from the well. It is a cow that's not used for any type of work, that's not humiliated, that is taken care of. And it's yellow, does not have any spots on it. Not a single spot of red or black or brown or anything. Pure yellow. Now this third condition has become a big problem. You see, first condition is very simple. Second was complicated, but third now it has become a big problem. And they searched, and finally there was only one cow that had these requirements. And that cow belonged to a pious man, and Allah Ta'ala had revealed to him to keep your cow, to take care of it, to treat her well, don't make her work, and one day you're going to sell it with its skin full of gold. Its skin full of gold. Its leather, its skin full of gold. So they searched until they found this single cow that meets these conditions Allah Ta'ala had put. So they asked the man to buy the cow. And he says, yes, fine. The price is the skin of this cow full of gold. They say, how is this possible? This is just a cow. He says, yes, but that's the price. You can take it or leave it. So there was they couldn't bargain, they couldn't do anything, they had to pay that amount. And when they found that special cow with that incredible price, as if it was, subhanallah, gold, قالوا الآن جئت بالحق. They said, now you have said the truth. Because we have found this special cow that costs so much, that's so specific, so particular. Yes, now, this time, this is the truth. Subhanallah. See with that? As if what Allah was saying, and Musa a.s. was saying from the beginning, all that was rubbish. And now, only now, this is the truth you have said. Now you have said the truth. Subhanallah. Did Allah not say the truth from the beginning and His Prophet? You see how disrespectful they were to Allah and to His Prophet. Terrible sins. Terrible sins. Yani terrible lack of belief, of faith, of submission to Allah and to His Prophet. فَذَبَحُوهَا وَمَا كَادُوا يَفْعَلُونَ. And they slaughtered it. They nearly couldn't. It was very difficult to find the cow and to pay for that cow. Yet, finally, they managed to do it and they slaughtered it. So when they slaughtered it, قُلْ نَضْرِبُوهُ بِبَعْضِهَا. Allah told Musa alayhi salam to cut the tongue of the cow and to hit that dead person who was still there. He wasn't buried yet. The person who was killed and they didn't know who killed him. And the person stood up and he said, he killed me. And it was his nephew who killed him for his inheritance. And he lied back down dead. And that was it. فَقُلْنَا اضْرِبُوهُ بِبَعْضِهَا. We said, hit him with the part of the cow. كَذَلِكَ يُحْيِي اللَّهُ الْمَوْتَى. That is how Allah brings the dead back to life. وَيُرِيكُمْ آيَاتِهِ لَعَلَّكُمْ تَعْقِلُونَ. And He shows you His signs, and so you can understand. So that is the first story in Surah Baqarah, where Allah Ta'ala brings the dead back to life. The second story is also in the story of Banu Israel, and I'm going to tell you the whole story until we reach the part where Allah brings the dead back to life. So when Musa alayhi crossed the sea with the Banu Israel, and Allah Ta'ala destroyed Fir'aun, drowned Fir'aun and his army, and when they reached the other side, they found people worshipping idols. قالوا يا موسى اجعل لنا إلها كما لهم آلهة. Well, this is mentioned in Surah Al-Ma'idah, but no problem. We'll come back to our Surah Baqarah. So they said, "Oh Musa, give us an idol, like they have idols. Oh, they are so lucky. Oh, they have these nice idols. Oh, we also want an idol so that we can worship." قال إنكم قوم تجهلون. He said, "You are ignorance. How can you say such nonsense? You are ignorance. إن هؤلاء متبر فيما هم فيه وباطل ما كانوا يعملون." What these people are doing is zero, is worth nothing. All their religion is worth nothing. Their worship is false. All that, what they're doing is wrong. إنها قال أغير الله أبغيكم إلها وهو فضلكم على العالمين. How can I choose another God than Allah for you to worship after He has preferred you on all mankind and everything He has given you? And Musa alayhi got very angry with them. So they left and they continued. But as soon as they reached their destination, and Musa alayhi went up the mountain to speak with Allah and to receive the commandments, so they made up, how do you call that? Small cow?
Calf.
They made up the calf of gold and they worshipped it. So it was just to wait that Musa goes away and they are going to do what they want to do. And Musa alayhi spent 40 days, and Allah Ta'ala gave him the book, the laws to follow, and Allah Ta'ala graved them in the rock and gave him the tablets where Allah has written these laws, so that they can be sure this is coming from Allah. And when those 40 days finished, Allah told him that we have tested your people. I have tested your people and they have worshipped the calf. So Musa alayhi came back and he was angry. He threw those tablets away. What orders of Allah am I going to give you when you are worshipping something else than Allah? You have nothing, no need for this. And he was so angry with them. In this story, Allah Ta'ala tells us the position of Harun alayhi salam and the position of Musa alayhi salam. Harun was with them, and Harun told them, وَلَقَدْ قَالَ لَهُمْ هَارُونُ مِنْ قَبْلُ يَا قَوْمِ إِنَّمَا فُتِنْتُ بِهِ. Harun told them, my people, this is a test Allah Ta'ala has sent on you. وَإِنَّ رَبَّكُمُ الرَّحْمَنُ. But your Rabb, your creator, your sustainer is Allah. It's not this goat, this calf. This has nothing, didn't do anything for you. And He is Ar-Rahman, He is merciful. فَاتَّبِعُونِي وَأَطِيعُوا أَمْرِي. So follow me and obey to my orders. Oh, mashallah. Harun alayhi salam gave such a nice speech, such a logical thing, such a convincing speech, and in such a nice way, with so much hikmah, wiseness and calmness. He has spoken to them. yet no one followed him. But Musa ﷺ came with the anger, with brutality, with insulting them, and everybody followed him. And that's how they were. And some people in life are like that. As long as you speak to them gently, calmly, someone, for example, owes you money. Oh, please, my brother. Oh, really, you put me in difficult situation, has been so much time. Oh, you still didn't, oh, yes, of course. I just have something to settle. I'll call you back, don't worry. As long as you speak to him nicely, he will never give you your money back. You have to come, make a fuss, shout, I'm going to bring some petrol, burn your house, blah, 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 you are this. And you say, oh, here, take your money. What is this behavior you have? Here's your money, leave me alone. As long as you don't do that to him, he will never give you your money back. So some people, it doesn't work with them to be wise and nice. And Banu Israel were that kind of people. So that way of Harun alayhi salam did not give any result. And it was the method of Musa alayhi salam that he's angry and hard. He's angry and insulting and using violence to push them. That's what worked with them. So they all accepted and made tawbah and recognized their wrong. So Musa alayhi salam told them, وإذ قال موسى لقومه يا قوم لقد ظلمتم أنفسكم باتخاذكم العجل فتوبوا إلى بارئكم فاقتلوا أنفسكم. You have done wrong to yourselves by worshipping the calf. You have to repent to your Lord and you're going to kill yourselves. Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala sent darkness in the daytime and ordered them to kill one another. That was their repentance for worshipping the calf. And they start killing each other in the darkness until Musa alayhi salam asked Allah, Ya Allah, that's enough. If it continues, there will be no more Banu Israel. They're all going to finish. So Allah Ta'ala removed the darkness. The day came back. Why, maybe it was an eclipse. But anyway, that's how the story is reported. And Allah said, okay, those who died have paid for the other ones. That was the repentance of worshipping the calf. Then Musa alayhi salam told them, okay, I've been to the mountain and Allah Ta'ala has spoken to me. They said, what? Wait there. Allah has spoken to you? We cannot believe this. We also want Allah to speak to us so we can believe. And they stuck onto it. So Musa alayhi salam selected 70 people from his community out of those 12 tribes of Banu Israel and took those 70 people with him back to the mountain so that Allah can speak to them and they hear Allah Ta'ala speaking to them. And Allah did speak to them and they heard Allah speaking to them. And when they heard Allah speaking to them, they said, وَإِذْ قُلْتُمْ يَا مُوسَى لَن نُؤْمِنَ لَكَ حَتَّى نَرَى اللَّهَ جَهْرًا. We will not believe until we see Him clearly. Allahu Akbar. Now they heard Allah and they said, no, it's not enough. We have to see Him. And we want to see Him clearly. Don't just make a trick on us that we see something and you say, that's it, you saw Him. No. It has to be clear and straightforward. We want to see Him the way He is. What is this God you are talking about? We want to see Him. فَأَخَذَتْكُمُ الصَّاعِقَةُ وَأَنْتُمْ تَنْظُرُونَ. So the thunder hit them and they all died. And Musa alayhi salam was left alone. So Musa alayhi salam cried to Allah, Ya Allah, I have chosen the 70 best ones. out of them all, to come to hear your words, so they will witness to the others, so they will believe. And now you have killed them, so I'm going to go back alone, so no one is going to follow me anymore. And Musa cried to Allah until Allah Ta'ala brought them back to life. ثُمَّ بَعَثْنَاكُمْ مِنْ بَعْدِ مَوْتِكُمْ لَعَلَّكُمْ تَشْكُرُونَ. Then we brought you back, we sent you back after your death, so that you will be grateful. And they came down with Musa alayhi salam. And they say, yes, we went up the mountain, and Allah spoke to us, and we heard Allah speaking to us. But we asked to see Him, and Allah killed us. But then Allah had pity on us, and Allah has brought us back to life. And here we are, and all that is true. So this is the second story, where in Surah Baqarah, where Allah Ta'ala brings the dead back to life. Now the third story, we're going to continue again the story of Banu Israel until we reach, inshallah, the third story. So Musa told them, okay, so I was telling you that Allah has spoken to me, and Allah Ta'ala has given me the orders, the commandments that we are going to follow. Because we were in Egypt under the rule of Pharaoh and the laws of Pharaoh. Now we are free, we are a community, and Allah is going to give us rules and commandments that we shall follow. And here it is Allah Ta'ala Himself that has engraved it in the rock. So you all know, we all know that this is Allah's commandments. And here it is. And He showed them the commandments. So they say, no, this is too difficult. We cannot accept this. This is too much for us. We don't accept these commandments. So Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala took the mountain of Tur up in the sky above their heads. وَإِذْ نَتَقْنَا الْجَبَلَ فَوْقَهُمْ كَأَنَّهُ ظُلَّةٌ. And we have taken the mountain above them like a cloud. خُذُوا مَا آتَيْنَاكُمْ بِقُوَّةٍ. Take what we have given you with strength. You're going to take it seriously. Otherwise, we're going to crush you under the mountain. They said, okay, if it is such, so we accept. And that's how they accepted to do these laws. And then Musa alayhi salam told them, okay, now we have to go to Palestine, our original earth, because Ibrahim alayhi salam was in Palestine, and his sons Yaqub, Ishaq, and then Yaqub, and Yusuf and his brothers were all in Palestine. But Yusuf alayhi salam went to Egypt. Well, he was taken to Egypt until he became minister and king, and he brought all his family to Egypt, and they stayed there. And after generations, they had become slaves because of their sins. And so Allah Ta'ala sent Musa alayhi salam to save them from slavery, also to give da'wah to the people of Egypt, and to bring them back to their original land, which was Palestine. So he told them, now we're going back to our land, homeland, Palestine. And they said, no, there are people there that are very strong, giants. We cannot fight them. We cannot go there to fight them. They have to leave first. Once they leave, so then we can go, we can come. And there was two believers of the community, and they told them, you must trust Allah, believe Allah. Just do it, go. Allah will give you victory. Put your trust in Allah if you are a believer. And they said, okay, so Allah is giving victory in it. Why don't you go, you and your Allah, and you win? And after you win, you tell us, and we will come. Because if Allah gives victory, Why does he need us for? We're not moving from here. You can say whatever you want to say. We're not coming. Might as well. Yeah, your Allah is so powerful. Just go you and him. When you finish the job, you tell us we'll come. MashaAllah. Huh? Indeed, Allah is capable of everything. But Allah wants us to deserve what we get. And Allah has put us in this world to struggle. Not just to sit down and Allah is going to do the job. Allah has created us already. You didn't do much to be created, did you? To have your body, to have everything. So Allah has done His job by creating us and giving us everything. Now we have to struggle. But such disrespect again and disobedience to Allah and His Prophet. After seeing those signs, those miracles, everything, to show the power of Allah, and yet you are making this fuss. So Musa a.s. complained to Allah, Ya Allah, I only have myself and my brother to obey you. And Allah and Musa a.s. prayed against them. فَفْرُقْ بَيْنَنَا وَبَيْنَ الْقَوْمِ الْفَاسِقِينَ. I take you as referee between us and these fasiqeen. And Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala condemned them to wander in the desert for 40 years. That was their punishment. They took a route, they got lost, they kept on going round and round for 40 years. They were lost in the desert. That was their punishment. Why 40 years? So that the generation will change. All those who grew up in slavery, the ulama says, they don't have courage to do things, to change things. They always were submitted to Fir'aun. They preferred to just accept things as they are, then try to do anything. Well, of course, with Fir'aun, it's better to submit yourself than try to rebel, because there's no way you can get out of it. Anyway, and those now who are born in the desert or who are very young when they arrived in this situation in the desert, now they grow up in their 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s. It was going to be a new generation. Yet in those 40 years in the desert, Allah Ta'ala was giving them every morning their food. They find al-manna wa salwa, the birds. I don't know how you call those birds in English. Koi. Yeah, koi. And al-manna is a liquid from Jannah that's like honey. So they had their daily food. And also Allah Ta'ala sent them a cloud to follow them everywhere. وَظَلَّلْنَا عَلَيْكُمُ الْغَمَامَ وَأَنزَلْنَا عَلَيْكُمُ الْمَنَّ وَالسَّلْوَى. We have protected you with the cloud, and we have given you al-manna was-salwa. So manna is that liquid from Jannah, and salwa the quail, to eat every day. Even in those 40 years of punishment, Allah Ta'ala was sustaining them and protecting them and showing them His signs and His power all the time. But at one point, they said Allah Ta'ala is giving us this food because we are worshipping Him and we are being good believers. But what if we do sins and we leave deen? So then we're going to starve, because this is going to stop. So we'd better find another way of eating. And they told Musa alayhi salam that we are tired of this. We want to change. Why don't you ask Allah to give us onions and the vegetables and lentils, and lentils and other things, these kind of things. And he said, okay, well, you are leaving what is good for what is less, so go to such place. And so they start working the earth to have their own food. Anyway, after those 40 years, the new Musa a.s. died there in the desert. Harun a.s. also died but they had another prophet, because prophets uh, were continuous in Banu Israel, and they needed them. Even with the prophets, it was not easy for them to follow Deen. So what if there wasn't any? But there was always a prophet. So after Musa and Harun, there was another prophet. And all those who were in generation changed after 40 years. And this new generation that grew up in the desert and was born in the desert. So they said to their prophet, now we are tired, we are fed up of going around in the desert. We want to go fight. We are ready for jihad. We want to go to Allah's promise. And he said, are you sure? Because if Allah Ta'ala orders you to do jihad, so then you cannot refuse anymore. It's going to become compulsory. It's going to become farz on you. They said, yes, of course. We are ready. We are tired of being here in the desert with our families, our children, and this situation is not acceptable anymore. We are ready to fight. So, when Allah Ta'ala ordered them to do jihad, now each one was looking for excuses not to go. Oh, I have planted my crops, I'm waiting for them to come out. I'm building my house, I haven't finished, I have done this, I've done that. I'm busy with this, I'm busy with that. So then Allah Ta'ala revealed to the Prophet to tell them that whoever has engaged with a woman and not yet married her, not yet lived with her, should not come. Whoever has planted something, did not finish his harvest, should not come. Whoever has built a house, he did not put the roof yet, should not come, etc. They're very happy, alhamdulillah. So all those complaints have been accepted. Now only people who are free, who have no engagement, nothing to worry about, they have to go for jihad, subhanallah. Anyway, they went. And in the way, every time there was some that were not ready, so they got less and less, until they reached in front of their enemies, and they were 314. And this story in Surah Baqarah, it just falls shortly before the Battle of Badr. And this story it is in Surah Baqarah, is preparing the Sahaba radiallahu anhum for the Battle of Badr. When now, out of those thousands and thousands of Banu Israel were in the beginning, only these 314 reached to face their enemies. وَلَمَّا بَرَزُوا لِجَالُوتَ وَجُنُودِهِ, when they were in front of Jalut. Now when Allah has ordered them to do jihad, Allah appointed Talut as king for them, as leader. And Talut. And the king of the Kuffar was called Jalut. ولما برزوا لجالوت وجنوده قالوا ربنا أفرغ علينا صبرا وثبت أقدامنا وانصرنا على القوم الكافرين. They said, oh Allah, give us patience and make our feet steady and give us victory against the kuffar. And وَقَتَلَ دَاوُودُ جَالُوتَ. And Dawood alayhi salam was a soldier of Talut, and he killed the chief of the enemies, Jalut. And that's when Dawood alayhi salam became king and became prophet. And Allah gave them victory. And the Jews went into Palestine. And Dawood alayhi salam was their king and their prophet. And Dawood alayhi salam, Allah Ta'ala gave him as a miracle, as a gift to him, the ability to work the iron with his own hands, as if it was a paste, as if he was making cake or something with his hands. And Allah Ta'ala taught him, وَعَلَّمْنَاهُ صَنْعَةَ لَبُوسٍ لَكُمْ لِيُحْسِنَكُمْ مِنْ بَأْسِكُمْ. We taught him to make helmets, how do you call it? Shields,
Body armor.
Body helmet for you, to protect you from your hardness, from your weapons. So Allah Ta'ala taught Dawood alayhi salam how to make the weapons and the body helmets. And he was doing this with his hands on cold iron by the teaching of Allah Ta'ala. And Dawood alayhi salam spent all his life of prophet and king fighting. Because when the Jews went into Palestine, all the people around them did not accept them, and they all fought them, and so Allah Ta'ala gave Dawood alayhi salam this advantage. And even in the time of Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, it was said that such and such warrior had a body shield of Dawood alayhi salam. So the weapons and the shields he had made were still used in the time of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and the one who had the chance to have those things, it was a big advantage for him. You see, it was taught by Allah and made in a technique that humans cannot do. So Dawood alayhi salam spent all his life as prophet fighting, and of course winning. And by the time he died, and his son Sulaiman alayhi salam took over, the wars had finished, and the kingdom was stable, and Allah Ta'ala gave Sulaiman alayhi salam much more power. And Sulaiman alayhi salam asked for it very clearly. رَبِّ اغْفِرْ لِي وَهَبْ لِي مُلْكًا لَا يَنْبَغِي لِأَحَدٍ مِّن بَعْدِي. Oh my Lord, forgive me and give me a kingdom no one after me would ever have. So Allah Ta'ala gave him the commandment of wind. وَلِسُلَيْمَانَ الرِّيحَ غُدُوُّهَا شَهْرٌ وَرَوَاحُهَا شَهْرٌ. To Sulaiman we have given the wind. It goes in the morning 1 month distance. That means the distance people take 1 month to travel, he will go in the morning, come back in the afternoon. And if you read about history and geopolitics and armies, you'll see that one important thing in dominating and having a big empire like British Empire is the capacity of sending armies to these very far places. Because if you have a big empire and someone does a revolution somewhere and bites out a bit of your empire, and it will take you ages to know about it because of the distance, and it's going to take you ages to send an army to do something about it. So your empire is going to be very weak. And everybody knows that if he does a revolution or attacks you somewhere, it's going to take you ages to do something about it. So the fact that you can send an army the same day and come back, wow, that is something incredible. The same army, he can send an army anywhere at 1 month range, where people need 1 month to go to reach there. And how difficult it will be to reach there. How difficult. And you can travel 1 month but with the whole army. How much food you need, how much everything you need, and what difficult places you're going to cross over you need. So even when your army reaches there after 1 month, it can be diminished very much. And it can be delayed. You cannot come in the time you hoped. So then your situation is going to be different. Your calculation is going to be wrong. Anyway, so this is just to tell you that this having one wind that can take you with your army, with anything you want, anywhere, at 1 month range, go in the morning, come back in the afternoon. This is ajib. Ajib. And Allah Ta'ala has given him the jinns that are under his orders and the shayateen. كُلَّ بَنَّاءٍ وَغَوَّاسٍ. Building and going deep in the sea, taking out jewels and anything. And those just chained so they don't do evil on earth. And so that the population can follow deen without this shayateen making bad waswas to them. Anyway, Allah Ta'ala has given Sulaiman alayhi salam such a great kingdom. But when Sulaiman alayhi salam died, he had a son who took over, and he was not a prophet. And after Sulaiman alayhi salam, there were no more king prophets. There were kings and there were prophets. And some kings were following the prophets, and some kings were not following the prophets, and some kings were very bad. And people would follow prophets or not follow prophets. Anyway, after Sulaiman alayhi salam, the deen fell down very fast. And of course the shayateen were free again to drive people astray. And Sulaiman alayhi salam had buried all the books of magic under his throne, so that people will not have access to magic as long as he's king. But after he died, the shayateen took those books out from under his throne and tell people, yes, you see, this is how Sulaiman was controlling us. This is how he had power on us. It is by magic. So, people said, oh, that's what Sulaiman did. We're also going to do it. And everybody started doing magic and working with shayateen. That of course confused their aqidah. Because up to today, they still think that magic is a normal thing to do. And they do it as part of their religion. And the Jews in Israel had a pact with the king of Babylon. And the Jews betrayed the pact by fighting another community, another country that was allied to Babylon. And the Babylonian came and with their army and destroyed Jerusalem and destroyed the Jews and killed plenty of them. And those who survived, they took them to Babylon in Iraq as slaves. And subhanAllah, I've been to Georgia, and still there are other descendants of the Jews that were taken there. At that time, they still live there. In the north of Iraq, Georgia. Well, you have to cross a part of Turkey, and then you get Georgia. They went there, and Jerusalem was destroyed. And in this event, in this story, the Jews lost the Torah. They lost the Bible. And only Uzair was a child. He was 10 years old when this happened. And he was Hafiz of Torah. He knew it by heart. And that was the last copy, or the last thing they had of Torah is what was in the memory of Uzair alayhi salam. And they went to Babylon and they lived as slaves. And 30 years later, when Uzair reached age of 40, Allah gave him prophecy. So he became prophet. Allah made him prophet. And Allah told him, go back to Jerusalem. And the Jews are going to come back. And Jerusalem is going to come back as it was. So Uzair ran away with the donkey, with his personal things. And he traveled all the way alone until he reached Jerusalem. And by crossing through a mountain, on turning at a point, he saw the city from up there. The city was not, no one was living there anymore. It was abandoned. After 30 years, the people who were killed were not even buried. The trees have rose everywhere. It has become like a forest, like a jungle. So when he saw that, he was shocked. This city, sacred city, that Dawood alayhi salam founded, that Sulaiman alayhi salam built and made so splendid, that had so many signs of Allah, so many sacred things, and this is how it is destroyed and abandoned. So he was shocked and sorry, and he said, أَنَّا يُحْيِي هَذِهِ اللَّهُ بَعْدَ مُوتِهَا. How will Allah bring this city back to life? Now it is dead, it is destroyed, it is abandoned. I am here alone, what can I do? A man alone cannot even build one house. How could he, what can he do? And Banu Israel are in slavery. And Allah told me to come. And that is going to come back as it was. But how is this possible? Here I am alone. What am I going to do? And following his route through the mountain, he stopped at a cave and went inside the cave to have a rest from his journey. And he put his bread and he had some raisins. He pressed the raisins to make a juice. And he went to sleep to have some rest and then eat and then go to the city. And when he slept, Allah Ta'ala made him die. And he died for 100 years. And in this 100 years, many things happened. What happened? The king of Babylon married a woman of Banu Israel, of the Jews. And he had a son with her. And this son eventually became king after his father died. And when he became king, after some time, this son was called Cyrus II the Great. And when he was king, he was very close to Prophet Daniel. And the Bible mentions how Prophet Daniel was spending a lot of time with him and teaching him many things. So at one point, this king told the Jews that I am giving you your freedom. You are not slaves anymore. You can choose to go back to Jerusalem, or you can stay with me here as free people as you want. So they said, we want to go back to Jerusalem. So they came. And they looked for Uzair everywhere, but they didn't find him. So they settled again in the city, repaired everything, rebuilt everything back to new. And years went by and years went by. So there was absolutely no more sign of any war, of anything that happened there. As in any wars, like what World War II has demolished in Europe. So there's no more any sign of anything. Years, so many years have gone by. That is over. So, and one morning, it was a market day, and people have come from everywhere in the jungle, from the villages to bring their things to sell. And it was market, people shouting and all the goods, and the city in its full activity. And Uzair woke up. Allah brought him back to life. And when Allah Ta'ala brought him back to life, as a start, Allah only made his eyes and his tongue and his mouth, and asked him, how much did you stay? He said, I said a day, half a day. I've just went to sleep. Maybe I was so tired. I slept all through the night till next day. And Allah Ta'ala told him, no, you have stayed 100 years. Look at your bread and your juice. It hasn't moved. It's still there as you left it, fresh. And look at your donkey. He's became dust. Some bones are left. And Allah Ta'ala brought his donkey back to life in front of him. The bones came back together to make the skeleton, and the intestines, the brain, the heart, the organs came back, and the flesh came back, and the skin came back, and the donkey started doing what's his noise again? Huh? He neigh?
Brain, I think it's called.
Brain. Well, maybe brain. That's in French. Brain. And the donkey was back to life. And Allah told him, look at yourself now. And with his own eyes, he's looking at his body. His bones coming back, his organs coming back, his muscles coming back, his flesh, his skin, and he raises up as if nothing happened. What time has done through 100 years, Allah made it all go backwards in a few seconds. And Allah told him, look now. And he went out of the cave and he sees the city all new, not any sign of war, of demolishing, of anything, all full of life, full of activity. Market day, very busy, people everywhere. Subhanallah. What did you say? You said how Allah is going to bring the city back to life? This is what you said. You just had a nap. Close your eyes, open your eyes. There it is in front of you. There it is in front of you. MashaAllah. Huh? قال أعلم أن الله على كل شيء قدير. He said, I know Allah is Almighty. But because man is weak, you say, how is it possible? How is this going to happen? Well, Allah showed him. This is how it happened. You just went to sleep, you open your eyes, and it's done. Allah is Almighty. And Uzair came down to the city with his donkey, went inside the city looking at everybody. Can he recognize anyone? After 100 years? Impossible. Can anyone know him? Impossible. So he crossed through the city looking for the religious responsibles, who is not the imam or the priest anyway, or the prophet, who is in charge. He went to see them. Assalamu alaikum. I am Uzair. Uzair. That disappeared 100 years ago. Yes, Allah killed me and brought me back to life just now. And here I am. MashaAllah. What events. And they found one lady that was over 100 years. That was a little girl when he left, that recognized him. And because they had lost the Torah, they had lost the Bible, so Uzair gave them the Bible again. And if you happen to read the Bible, now we as Muslims, we don't read the Bible to learn how to worship Allah or to add something to our knowledge of religion. But we could learn the Bible in order to understand the Jews and the Christians and to understand how to speak with them. And I did read it once. So when you read the Bible, it goes in the beginning, Allah, au commencement Dieu créa le monde. In the beginning, God created the world. And he did this and he did that, and in 6 days of creation. And after that, he created Adam alayhi salam, and he put him in Jannah. And Adam disobeyed to Allah, and then he punished him, chased him out of Jannah. And then there was the sons of Adam, Habil and Qabil, Abel and Cain, and Cain killed Qabil, killed Habil, and then the things went on, and then Nuh alayhi salam came, and the people didn't believe him, and Allah told him to make the boat, and he was saved, and the others were drowned. And then after that, Ibrahim alayhi salam came, and Ibrahim alayhi salam had Ismail, and he had Ishaq, and after Ishaq there was Yaqub and Yusuf, and Yusuf alayhi salam went to Egypt, and everything that happened there, and then he took his brothers to Egypt, and after some generation they became slaves, And that's when Allah Ta'ala sent Musa alayhi salam to save them from slavery, and then they were saved from Pharaoh, but they did not accept to go to Palestine, so they stayed 40 years in the desert. After that, they were ready for jihad, and finally they did go to Palestine, and Dawood alayhi salam then was prophet, and he was king, and he spent his life fighting, stabilizing the new kingdom. And after Dawood was Sulaiman alayhi salam, and Sulaiman, his kingdom was beautiful, and this and that happened in his time. And after Sulaiman alayhi salam, we had other kings, and then we did not respect the pact with the Babylonians, and they came and destroyed Jerusalem, and we went to Babylon. And that is the first time in the Bible where the narrator will show himself. Because when you read, in the beginning, God created the world, you don't know who is speaking. It's not God. Because the Bible is not like the Quran, that is Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, the name of Allah. There's no Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim in the Bible. It's not Allah who's speaking. It's not the words of Allah that Allah is speaking. It is some people telling the story. Some people are narrating the story, the history of the Banu Israel. That is what the Bible is. It is the Banu Israel relating their own story, generation after generation. But the first part, the oldest part of the Torah, the author is not mentioned. And you just keep reading by one same author. And the only time where the author reveals himself is when he says, and we went to Babylon. And it is Uzair, telling them everything he knew. And in the whole story up to Uzair, there is the story of Musa alayhi salam. And in the whole story of Musa alayhi salam, there is the part where Musa tells them, now these are the commandments Allah has given me. And then it quotes the commandments Allah has given him. And that is the words of Allah. The commandments of Allah that is the words of Allah, but it needs to be authentified. Needs to be authentified. Is it original, authentic, or not? But that is the words of Allah. All the rest are the words of Uzair describing what happened. The way he was taught when he was small. The way the Jews taught it generation after generation. And then the story of Uzair ends, and someone else takes over. Yes, I am such person, and this is what happened, and he keeps on telling the story. So sometimes it is prophets who are telling the story, sometimes it is historians, sometimes it is the king at that time who's writing the story, sometimes it is unknown people that are writing the story. And that is what the Bible is. And when it gets to Isa alayhi salam, it is same thing again, because you have the Injil. How do you say Injil in English?
Gospel.
The Gospel of the 4 Gospels and more Gospels. So each one of those, Mark and John and etc., is telling, I am Mark, and this is the story how it happened, and he tells the story. And each one of them will tell the story the way he knows about it, the way he witnessed or the way he was taught about it. So it's not the words of Allah that this is what Allah said to Isa alayhi salam. No. It is those people there, each one narrating the story the way he has witnessed or the way he was taught about it. And in that story, he will say, and Isa alayhi salam said this and that. So that is what we call hadith of Isa alayhi salam. Yet authenticity to be discussed. And when Isa alayhi speaks, sometimes Isa will say, well, Allah said this and that. And that will become the words of Allah and yet to be authenticated. But the main yani the whole document is the word is history, historians. That is what we have in Islam, Sirah. Sirah is the Sahaba telling the story of Prophet ﷺ. We were together in such we went for Badr and this is what happened and that's what happened and we went and this is what happened. And they're telling the story, and in the story of course they said that happened and Rasulullah ﷺ said this and that happened and Allah Ta'ala gave some verses. That's how it is. Okay? So that is when Uzair has given them the Torah. And the return of Uzair was a big event, of course, and that was a big boost to the Iman of Banu Israel. And Uzair was a living miracle because he was there, he was 40, he was still in his 40 years, and his sons that he had left at the time had all passed away because he was 40 when he left, so he had children, but his children all had passed away, and his grandchildren, the children of his children, were old, were in the 80s and older than him, and that was the miracle. He was this young man and his old grandchildren, mashallah. The miracle of Allah Ta'ala. And so that is the story of Uzair. And this is the third story in Surah Baqarah where Allah Ta'ala brings the dead back to life. The story of Uzair. Alright? And after Uzair alayhi salam, religion fell down again with Banu Israel. But this time, when it fell down after Uzair, it never picked up anymore. And they started killing the prophets that Allah was sending them to bring them back to the right path. And Allah Ta'ala gave them the last chance with Isa alayhi salam to bring them back to the right path. But they did not want to that chance. And they did all that possible to kill Isa alayhi salam, asking the Romans who were the governors to kill this man. And they believe they have done it because they got Isa alayhi salam to be crucified. But we know that it's not him. وَمَا قَتَلُوهُ وَمَا صَلَبُوهُ وَلَكِنْ شُبِّهَ لَهُمْ. They did not kill him. They did not crucify him. It was
made to appear so.
It was?
Just made to appear.
It was made to appear so. And we believe it is the one who gave him away, that Allah has changed into the appearance of Isa alayhi salam, and he was crucified. But yet, everybody saw with his own eyes that it was Isa, and they all went on like that, believing it was him. So, that was the last chance Allah Ta'ala has given to the Jews, and that's what they did of it. They did their best to kill him, as they had killed many others before. So then Allah Ta'ala took the prophecy of the Jews to give it to other branch of Ibrahim alayhi salam, which is the Arabs, and to Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Now another point is that this prophet, this king, Cyrus II the Great, whose mother is Jew, and you know that Jews, they believe that religion comes through the mother. So for them, he is a believer like them, and he is the one who freed the Banu Israel from slavery. So they really love him very much. And he was very close to Prophet Daniel. So he was a pious man and he was a believer. So he is the one to be believed to be Dhul Qarnayn. But that is not, that's not a question to debate about, because it doesn't change anything to us. It doesn't, just a historical point. And the fourth story where Allah Ta'ala brings the dead back to life, and don't worry, it's very short. It's also in one verse. أَلَمْ تَرَ إِلَى الَّذِينَ خَرَجُوا أَلَمْ تَرَ إِلَى إلى الذين خرجوا من ديارهم هم ألوف حذر الموت فقال لهم الله موتوا ثم أحياهم. Did you not see those who have left their homes, thousands of them, running away from death? And Allah told them, die, and they died. And then he brought them back to life. So this also happened with Jews, with Banu Israel, and they run away from their homeland, fearing death. So the ulama say, either it was an illness, or it was enemies coming to kill them, or it was famine. So actually we have no idea what it was. So anyway, there is something that made that they were afraid of death, and they all run away. And Allah Ta'ala killed them all, and then brought them back to life by groups, like thousands are dead, and Allah will bring 20 back to life, and they see everybody dead. Another 20 wake up, and they see the others alive, the others dead, and they're watching how they are coming back to life group by group, so they can all witness what happened. And Allah Ta'ala did that just to show them that it is Allah who is Almighty, and death and life are in the hands of Allah. Whatever you do will not change your life and your death. And the fifth story in Surah Baqarah, where Allah Ta'ala brings the dead back to life, is the story of Ibrahim alayhi salam with the birds. وَإِذْ قَالَ إِبْرَاهِيمُ رَبِّ أَرِنِي كَيْفَ تُحْيِي الْمَوْتَى. When Ibrahim said, "Oh my Lord, show me how you bring dead back to life." قَالَ أَوَلَمْ تُؤْمِنْ. And Allah said, are you not believing? Did you not believe? قَالَ بَلَى وَلَكِنْ لِيَطْمَئِنَّ قَلْبِي. He said, yes indeed, I do believe, but I want my heart to be, to have peace, to see it, and to increase my iman, and to be sure about it, and to have the yaqeen about it. So Allah Ta'ala told him to take 4 birds, to slaughter them, to cut them, to mix them, to put on 4 different mountains different parts of those birds, and to keep the heads himself, and to stand in the middle of those 4 mountains, and to call those birds, come in the name of Allah. And all those parts of birds came and joined together and flew back away. What I want to tell you about this story is that this procedure Allah Ta'ala told Ibrahim to do is very, very difficult. Imagine any one of us, if I tell you, go bring 4 birds. It's not 4 chicken or goose, those birds that we breed, no, birds that fly that are in the trees up there in the sky. Catch, and there's no market of birds. I'm going to go buy some pigeons and some of those birds in the cage. No, you have to catch him from the air, from the tree. Go bring 4 birds. 4 birds of different kinds. You're not going to throw a big net and catch 4 pigeons and say, that's it, I've done it. No, you have to catch 4 birds of different kinds, and you have to catch them alive. You cannot just hit and shoot and kill them and say, yeah, I got the bird. No, you have to catch him alive. Anyone, just think, if you had to do that, how are you going to do that? How are you going to do that? It's a big problem for someone who's never hunted birds, because even those people who hunt birds, they don't try to catch them alive. They just kill or wound them, and then they finish them off to eat them. But how to catch birds alive? 4 different kinds of birds, and if you have caught one, you need a cage to keep him, and you need to feed him by the time you get the other ones. So actually, it is a big problem. It is a big problem. Now, once he's got the 4 birds, to slaughter them and to cut them and to mix them, that's easy. That's not a problem. But now to put parts on 4 different mountains, brothers and sisters, there's no routes in the mountains. There's no routes, and there's no cars to go up the mountains. You have to go on your feet. Well, if you want to take your donkey, that's your problem. But you have to go on your feet up the mountain to the point where you cannot go any higher up the mountain. And that's not easy at all. And there might be one mountain that's good to have an outing to go as an outing, as to go have spend a day there. But second mountain, third mountain, fourth mountain, that's going to be more complicated. And many of these mountains, you cannot go up and down in the same day. You'll have to spend the night somewhere there in the dark, in the mountain, where the wild animals are, where nobody lives. Subhanallah, it's not an easy thing at all. And you can go one side and then you realize that you cannot go that side. You have to go back down, turn around the mountain, look for which is the way that you can take to go up. And some places it's not easy to go up, but when you go back down, it's much more difficult. Just to tell you that it's not easy. It's not easy to go up a mountain like that. And up 4 mountains to put those parts of the birds. And why? Why did Allah Ta'ala ask him to do all that? When Allah Ta'ala could tell him, take your sheep, kill your sheep, cut your sheep to pieces. Now look very well, I'm going to bring that sheep back together. No. That's not the way to do it. What is the difference? It is the more you struggle and the more you suffer to do something, the more it's going to impact you. And you will never forget. You will never forget how it happened. And everything you have gone through until you reach that result. That's why some people who struggled, who saw death with their eyes before they become Muslim. So that's something that's going to impact them for life. Different situations. But when it is easy, so you cannot give it the value. It cannot have that weight, that value to you. That is the lesson Allah has given to Ibrahim alayhi salam. And imagine, you're making dua, Ya Allah, show me this. It cannot happen to us, of course, because Allah is not going to give us wahi and tell us direct orders how to do this and that. But Ibrahim alayhi salam, he just made this dua, Ya Allah, I want to see how you bring dead back to life. And look what Allah Ta'ala made him go through. So no other time in his life he's going to ask for such a thing again. Because you were very tranquil. You don't need to catch birds. You don't need to go up the mountains. There's no such farz in Islam that you should go catch birds or you should go up the mountains. No, just make your 5 namaz and just do your normal deen. But because you have asked this extra thing you want to see, now Allah Ta'ala has given you some extra duties you have to do. Very hard and difficult duties. So next time, before you open your mouth, say, Ya Allah, I would like this and that. Think well before you ask, because you can put yourself into trouble. You can put yourself into trouble. May Allah Ta'ala help us. So, for example, you don't need to say, Ya Allah, show me a sign of your power. A sign of your power? Do you know what you are asking for? You can have cancer and spend all your money and go everywhere and pray Allah, and Allah will cure you, and now you have seen the power of Allah. What do you think? Is that a good idea? Yeah, of course. Your iman will increase, but you're going to suffer. You're going to suffer very, very, very bad before you see that sign. So that was the story of Ibrahim alayhi salam. And now, as a conclusion, Allah Ta'ala in this one surah, Surah Baqarah, gives us 5 stories of how Allah Ta'ala brings dead back to life. 5 different stories, 5 different situations. Look at all these situations, how they all are different. First story with the cow, the man has just been killed. And he woke up and he said, he killed me. And he went back to his deathbed. Second story, 70. They were destroyed by the thunder. They have become coal. And Allah Ta'ala brought them back to life. After that, it is Uzair and his donkey. And they died for 100 years until they become dust. And Allah brought them back to life. Him and his donkey. So the donkey will carry his things. And then thousands of people that have run away from death. And Allah Ta'ala made them die and back to life. And then these birds that were cut and mixed and put into 4 different mountains that Allah showed him. You say, come in the name of Allah, and they all come. And all the work Ibrahim alayhi salam has done to catch them, to kill them, to put them in the 4 mountains, Allah Ta'ala made all that process backwards, and there they are in the flying in the air or in the trees. Why is Allah Ta'ala giving us 5 stories on the same point, bringing dead back to life? It is to show His power, that Allah Ta'ala is almighty, and Allah Ta'ala has the power to do whatever He wants, and that Allah Ta'ala is over the rules of creation. Because one great rule of creation is that the one who dies does not come back to life, isn't it? Once you slaughter the sheep, you killed him, can you bring him back to life? It's impossible. Any animal, any living creatures that dies, logically, but Allah Ta'ala is capable of everything, but in worldly means, in means of makhluk, of creation, it's not possible. Nothing is impossible for Allah. Allah does what He wants. And of course, the things that are possible, that you need a job, you need a wife, you need children, you need health, you need a house, you need papers, permit, you need to succeed in your studies. Anything you need that is possible, well, of course, that is even easier for Allah. Allah can do the things that are impossible. Impossible in human logic is possible for Allah. But what is accessible for humans, it is all easy for Allah. So these 5 stories is that Allah Ta'ala is showing us who He is, what He is capable of doing, so that we believe in Allah. And we know that Allah Ta'ala can do anything. And that we attach to Him, and we ask Him, and we worship Him, and we believe in Him, and we keep faith in Him, and we don't be afraid of creatures, and we don't run after creatures to get our needs, and we don't think that we need creatures, and we don't forget our Allah, and we know that we need Him. Now this belief in the power of Allah must go to the practical life. It must become in our practical life that what we need, we will ask it from Allah. And we will use the means Allah has given us in religion, such as the du'as, the surahs, such as the prayer of need, such as such and such sunnah and behavior and dua for each situation, to solve our problems and to get the help of Allah and to bring barakah in our lives. Inshallah, we will continue about Surah Baqarah, because this is the first course on Surah Baqarah, the 5 stories where Allah Ta'ala brings the dead back to life. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.